Well, good afternoon and welcome to CBM Calling. Really pleased today to be joined by Tim and Kallie Hutton, CBM field staff in Cochabamba, Bolivia. Welcome, Tim and Kallie.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
Good to
us.
be here.
As we're doing these calls, we're connecting with our field staff around the world and trying to get an update on how you're doing and how you continue to serve alongside the church in this case in Bolivia. So it's been a while since we've connected with you. How are you doing? You're still in Cochabamba?
Still here, still alive. We're doing well. It's kind of, I feel like we've hit a different stride in the work here. At the beginning of the pandemic, it felt like everything was kind of stalled and everyone was trying to figure out what are we supposed to do and how are we supposed to do it. And I feel like our partners have kind of gotten some of that figured out now. And so there's new opportunities. There's really cool workshops and stuff that are going on. Our projects are being creative about things. And so we're encouraged by that and very busy.
In previous conversations we've had with yourself and with Patty Nacho and with the Dicks, um, Bolivia had been hit really hard by COVID. What's the current context like?
Just in this past week or two, we've seen the numbers really go up. They haven't been this high, I think, since December or January. Um, so that's a bit of a concern. At the same time, I feel like the hospitals are better equipped now. So we're not seeing the same spike in the overall death rate, fortunately. We still have personal connections and stories that you hear that really hit hard. But overall, even with this new increase, and I'm sure it's like this in Canada too, there's a level of confusion and concern constantly. Um, but things aren't shutting down the same way. We have a different government now, and so their approach is a bit less rigid than the previous government. However, we have a constant curfew in the evenings, and there's discussion right now in our city of putting in a quarantine on weekends where nobody's allowed to leave on Saturday or Sunday. So they're in discussion right now.
And I know one of the things that we continue to advocate for here at CBM is equity and justice with global vaccine distribution. Has Bolivia had any access to COVID vaccination yet?
We have vaccines from Russia and China, and they in the news you see them rolling out. We know of two people who have received vaccines at this point who will be older and with health concerns. But by and large, it's not really rolling out at the level that Canada would have.
Okay, so still something to pray about and definitely advocate for is equity in that distribution. I want to just talk a little bit about the different projects that we're involved with our partners. Your ministry, you're really hands-on in accompanying the Bolivian Baptist Union and Obades in the work that we do with local churches in that country. Um, what's what's going on? Where are you seeing hope with these projects?
Well, one of the things with our vulnerable children's projects, obviously the fact that school has been on and off has made it tricky. Currently, they tried to do school 100% online and it didn't work out very well. And so now they're kind of doing a rotational thing where kids will go to school for 1 week and then have 2 weeks online, and rotating so there's always somebody who's in the classroom. But it still leaves a lot to be desired. A lot of the families that we work with really don't have access to cell phones or computers or internet to be able to do online school well. And so we've been really encouraged at the creativity of our vulnerable children's projects. Jure, which is connected to a church, had church members kind of rally and raise funds and donate, and they've put together like a computer room for the kids, which has been great. They're able to come in and do their online classes and continue to get help with their homework. And it's just been such a blessing for the families. And same thing with Casa de la Amistad. They have some computers available, and they have different municipal leaders actually who have just been so appreciative of the work that CAS is doing, who are rallying to, do a campaign to get people to donate their old cell phones so that more of the kids will have access to be able to get online when they come in. But all of the staff has just been really creative in how to continue connecting with the families. We've got a new cohort of moms at the Casa de la Amistad in the sewing project, the ADA, Eagle's Wings. So they're learning how to sew and doing really well. And what's been so encouraging for me there is that one of the moms who has been with us from the beginning is now actually teaching the new moms how to sew. So to see that kind of come full circle and the confidence that she has to be able to give back what she received has just been really, really fun.
The seminary is going through some changes as well. All their classes are online. Kallie and I are both teaching. And so it's definitely a challenge. Teachers who are excellent at their job are having to learn new skills regarding how to do online teaching. But the seminary has been in a process, I feel like, for close to a decade, trying to move in this direction. And now we see them having a much more national reaching ministry and a lot of innovative ideas coming out, regular workshops done on weekends open to the general church community, and all kinds of ideas coming out of people just out of necessity. And so that's been exciting and definitely a glimmer of hope. We've also had some emergency relief projects, not related to COVID, but during a pandemic. So in January, in a tropical region, there was intense flooding where people's homes would have water in them up to your waist or higher, and there was a need for evacuation. Churches stepped up in those moments to welcome them into the church or support people who had moved into local schools for temporary relief, and we were able to partner with them and provide relief. Currently, we're working on a project where there was intense hail, about the size of baseballs, ripping through the roofs of adobe homes, destroying crops, and even the food storage for animals that would need to feed. And so we're working with two churches who got involved with a small community and their leadership, and being able to talk to local leaders who aren't connected to the church, but kind of see that networking happen. And the passion and care that these two local churches have for that situation has been really encouraging, despite the difficulty.
I know one of the projects that's near to my heart. When I was pastoring in New Brunswick, our church partnered with the Chagas project in the more rural area. And at that time, I think it was primarily home renovations combined with testing and treatment and education in partnership with the government. But one of the things I've been excited to read about is some of the new things that you're doing with that project around agriculture and beekeeping. Is any of that, can you share some of that?
Sure, yeah. Chagas for a while has always had an agricultural component to it. So we will partner with communities to help promote raising chickens or goats or papaya, depending on the region and what succeeds. This past year we launched a beekeeping initiative as well. And the idea is to give communities and families an extra stream of income. It might not be their full income, but it's a new skill and it's a new means of dependence. During the pandemic, we saw people who would often travel to do construction work in the cities as a secondary income lose that opportunity and put them into really difficult situations. In our projects too, a lot of times these beekeepers are teenagers who dropped out of school after grade 6. And for them, it's a really exciting initiative because they don't get to do new things. They don't get to go on little field trips to go see how other people are beekeeping, how other people are taking care of goats. And so that's been exciting for me to see younger people and older people try something new and have hope about what they could build as a family.
And is that operating without any issues because it's in a more rural, remote area in terms of the pandemic restrictions?
Yeah, in the start of the year, we were able to get out to communities. There's not the same kind of intense lockdown that we had previously. So from January till now, it's really a planning stage. But we had our first honey harvest about a month ago, and we've started to sell. I'm trying to sell specifically to churches and promote it as missional honey. And the idea that the profits go back into communities. We also have great participation from a few local churches who have really keen beekeepers who do it a little bit more, they would say, rustic, but really know their terrain and know the tricks of the trade in their location. Mm-hmm. So it's so far been going very smoothly, but we're definitely in a pilot stage for this.
It's exciting. Now, here's the important question. How many times have you been stung as you...
Several times.
Quite a few.
He's been stung several times.
We know I do not have an allergy.
Well, that's great. Thanks for sharing those updates on the projects and, really stories of hope as we see God at work through our partnership in Bolivia and through the church there. That's really exciting. I wonder, as we move towards an end of this conversation, if you could share a little bit about how people in Canada, your partners here, can be in prayer for you and for our partner.
For sure. I think an obvious one is just prayer for continued safety. We're still in a state of insecurity, uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going on with the numbers or how the vaccine rollout is going to go. And so just continued prayer for that. Also for endurance and creativity. It's been a long haul for the staff and our projects trying to shift and adapt and care for the people that they are working with. And so just prayer that they continue to have that passion, but that they're also able to be creative and figure out new solutions and different ways of supporting and connecting. Because they've just been so good at that. But continued prayer for that would be great.
And maybe lastly, I'd ask for prayer for the Bolivian Baptist Union. They're going through a transition right now. Their president of the last 5 years has resigned. And it's a healthy transition, but they currently don't have solidified leadership. And so that's on the hearts and minds of a lot of Bolivian Baptists right now is the next stage, particularly going through a transition during a pandemic, coming through a difficult time for many churches. Prayer for the future of the Bolivian Baptists.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing those, and be assured of our prayers here in Canada as you serve. And thank you for being here, and thank you everyone for being part of this conversation. There's several things you can do if you want to continue the conversation. First, you can visit our website, cbmin.org. And on there, you'll find all sorts of information about our work and partnerships. You can visit Tim and Kallie's staff page, and on there's a link to their blog and also ministry updates, so you won't want to miss that. Also, if you'd like to continue to pray in solidarity with our field staff, you can sign up for Prayer Line on our website, and that will be delivered to your email on a weekly basis, and field staff leading us in prayer. Also, if you would like to read more about how CBM is responding around the world, you can sign up and we will send you this magazine, CBM Responding, free of charge to your mailbox. And you can do that by emailing communications@cbmin.org. Thank you for your partnership in ministry as we serve around the world. Thank you, Tim and Kallie, for sharing a little bit, giving us a glimpse of what that ministry looks like as God's at work in Bolivia. Be assured of our prayers and our support as you serve.